All my successful friends are single. My single friends are more successful than my married friends.
I hate to say this, but like all of my friends who are married or engaged, they are not as successful as my friends who are single. My friends who are not damsels in distress, all single. My friends who are damsels in distress, all taken.
The person who said it, of course, was very single and very ready to meet someone. But her belief was that her friends who were married were not as successful and they were damsels in distress. And that their friends who were single, her friends who were single, were just better. Just better at doing life, just more successful. At least that's the impression she gave off. Now, before I go any further, I take suggestions, so don't be afraid to leave them in the comment section below. But for now, let's get into it. So, what does she mean by that? What does she mean that her friends are more successful? She means professional success. Although, I'm sure she views it as success, period, as life success. Professional success is what she equates to success. Professional success and of course monetary gain. And this is not just her. I would argue most of society as a whole equates success to professional success. But I would argue that her married friends, unless there's some weird things going on in their marriage, some abusive stuff going on, which I'm gonna use Occam's razor and assume that's not the case, that her married friends have achieved more life success. They have achieved personal success. Her married, professionally unsuccessful friends have achieved life success, have achieved personal success. The thing is, the cultural perspective, the cultural narrative, now at least in the West in general, is that women who choose not to focus on their careers and their professional success, and instead they choose to focus on their families, are seen as less successful, even as less than. And I'm gonna say, I know there's gonna be people that are gonna contest this and are gonna say, where are women who are married and that are happy in their marriages seen as less than? I just gave you an example at the beginning of this video. If you want, you can go and re-watch that. But if you want to believe really that the girl boss idea and the girl boss perspective and archetype isn't the one being pushed today, well, go ahead, keep believing that. I'm fine with that. I'm just living in reality over here. Go watch any movie. There's always a whole strong woman, strong female lead being asked. And in fact, even on casting websites, there's always going to be a strong, 99% of the movies, let's say, there's going to be a strong female lead. These women that focus on their families and not on their career are just seen as less successful, less accomplished, just less. She is just a housewife. She is just a homemaker. She is just. No one's gonna say, this woman, she is just a lawyer. She is just a brain surgeon. No one's gonna say that. So let's not pretend that there isn't a cultural narrative to put down women who choose to raise their families, which is the foundation of society, as it is. As it should be, at least, even though we're trying to change that and we're trying to move away from that. Let's just not pretend there isn't that narrative, that a woman who does this is a just housewife, just a mom. But why are they seen that way? And as I said, it's societal. Our values have shifted. Women killing it in the workforce has become celebrated in the mainstream. We see it in movies, we see it in TV commercials, we see it on TV shows. If her married friends were watching the show, what do you think they would feel?
My friends who are damsels in distress, all taken. I'm looking for a partnership.
I'm personally not on the side that we should be celebrating women who are raising their families just as much as women on the workforce. I believe that in 90% of cases, having a family for a woman is a lot more fulfilling than having a job. And I say in not only more fulfilling, more useful for society, more productive for society. Because having a job, say in marketing, and this is not against just marketing people, this is just the example I thought about. Having a job in marketing in general, generally speaking, is not a plus societally speaking. You might be making money, but it is not a plus to be helping a society become more consumer based. But that's neither here or there. I digress. Consumerism is not the topic at hand. So I say a job because most people have jobs. Most people don't have wonderful, fulfilling careers. They just don't. Let's be realistic. Do I think all women are meant to be mothers? No. Women choosing not to be mothers is not 100% the result of feminism. We have always had women through history choosing different paths, becoming missionaries, becoming guides to women, becoming teachers, becoming counselors, becoming handmaidens, becoming doulas, becoming midwives, the list goes on, becoming nuns. But nowadays it is glorified to kill yourself for a corporation, or perhaps just creating your own business to make tons of money and buy a Gucci bag. And making a lot of money and killing yourself for a corporation is not going to keep you warm at the end of your life. This goes for both women and for men, by the way. In many societies, jobs are functional things that help in the survival of the families. Jobs are things that serve the purpose of feeding, housing, and dressing the family. Purely utilitarian and not the source of pride. I think sometimes we need to leave our little bubble and realize that this is still the case for most people in the world. That the job is there to serve the family, that the individual is there to serve the family and not the other way around. Now there is this attempt to separate the nuclear family, to break apart the nuclear family, and in turn that would mean the family would no longer be the bedrock of society, but something else would have to replace it. And think hard of what would that be. Would that be the government being our sole source of sustenance, perhaps, where we look to for guidance, perhaps? A lot of us today see it as my career will bring me happiness, or my family and my career will bring me happiness, but it shouldn't quite be that way. It's almost selfish if you think about it. I'm not arguing that families should not bring people happiness. Of course they would, but in general, you shouldn't have a family because it will serve you as an individual, but to serve the family. And in turn, the family will give you fulfillment. And I'm not arguing whatsoever, again, that women shouldn't work at all, but they should not look to a job as a source of fulfillment. I think having a side gig or a side business is fun and can be a hobby, but it should not be that one source of fulfillment. And on the flip side, there's this idea on the spaces of very right-wing or the manosphere that believe that women should not work at all. That's some people believe this, and that we should go back. There's these sections of the internet that really believe that women should not work at all, that we should go back to the olden days where women didn't work. And I have to ask them, what olden days are you speaking of? Because through the history of the world, women and men have always worked. The thing is, it is in our modern times where we have jobs that serve no purpose other than to make money, other than to feed our most superficial aspects. Women have always worked as handmaidens, seamstresses, doulas, as I said, midwives, ladies in waiting, many farmers. Do you think that the wives of farmers just sat around looking pretty all day? No. It is only on our modern society when we look back to the olden days and we look at the women of the 50s and we think that women used to not work. That's just a very modern look at the past. Like, regardless. All of this to say, guys, let's just please stop looking at the job or career as the holy grail. Let's stop this narrative of the girl boss and the women. I'm just done with it. Okay? See you next time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be civil. Cheers.